Alright, man, peace. So the great Errol Spence, widely recognized as the best welterweight in the world, sat down in the aftermath of Mikey Garcia's rather dominant victory over Robert Easter Jr. to discuss the possibilities of Mikey Garcia being his next opponent. So of course they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
Back here live, of course, with the guys who called the fight. That's Morrill, that's Al, that's Paulie. Enjoy. Guys, joining us is the IBF welterweight champion of the world. That's the truth. Errol Spence Jr.
A.K.A. Eartha Kitt with the leopard print on.
Well, let's not bury the lead. Mikey Garcia says he wants to fight you next in December. Do you want to fight Mikey Garcia next?
Definitely I want that fight. I feel like that's the best fight available for me right now with Sean Porter and Danny Garcia fighting each other in September. Keith Thurman still has to return and get a tune-up. So right now...
Keith Thurman get more tune-ups than Jiffy Lube. I mean, come on, man. What's going on with Keith Thurman, a.k.a. Mr. Glass from Unbreakable?
That's the best fight for me. He's daring to be great. He wants to be great, so he's going to move up, and try to dethrone me, and it's not going to happen.
I thought it was interesting because, as these guys can attest, he told us in the fighter meeting, he first got the thought to fight you after watching you fight Lamont Peterson, and he said, I think it to be an easy fight. I know that many people out there will say that it's really a threat. He says, but that brings greater reward for him. And he said, listen, that means I would have beaten 3 undefeated champions. No one has done that in a 9-month span. You would have to call me pound for pound the baddest man on the planet.
I stated prior to that fight being discussed that the reason why Mikey Garcia wants that fight with Errol Spence is because he knows it is a no-lose situation for him. If he loses, he lost to the baddest welterweight in the world. If he wins, he has to be recognized as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in all of boxing.
Your response to that?
I mean, it's definitely won't be an easy fight. I mean, that's not going to happen. And when he want to be great, he will be pound for pound #1 if he can beat me. But it's not going to happen. I'm a 147 pounder. He's a 135 pounder. They got weight class for a reason. It will be, it will be a challenging fight because he's technically good. He has great skills, but I see myself winning.
Is there anything you saw tonight that concerns you?
That jab should concern you, especially since you do not have the best head movement.
I don't really see anything that concerns me. I mean, like I said, he's technically good. I'm technically sound too. I have speed. I have power. I don't see him hurting me at 147. I just see me winning the fight, period.
I see it also, but just stay on your P's and Q's because he is a slickster in there.
We had Sean Porter. I had Sean Porter up here, and I asked him, I said, Errol Spence says he's been promised a unification fight in early 2019. Is that a fight you want? And Sean Porter said, absolutely. I want Errol Spence if I beat Danny Garcia.
Well, the reason why he's saying that is because he knows that if he beats Danny Garcia, he's not going to have any choice but to fight Errol Spence.
Are we looking at unification? If you face Mikey Garcia and you're victorious, are we looking at a unification?
I mean, it should happen. I think it's definitely going to happen next year. But with Sean Porter and with Danny Garcia, they always say my name when they have a fight coming up. When they don't have a fight coming up, they don't say my name.
Because they do not want you to be the first fighter that they face, especially if they don't already have a belt. They don't want to face you unless they have a belt, brother. You know what that's about.
When Sean didn't have a fight coming up, he said he's not looking to fight me. I'm not on his radar at all. But now he has a fight. Now he wants to fight me. They say it every time. So after they fight each other, and whoever wins, it's a unification fight. And I think it's definitely going to happen next year because, they don't have nobody else to fight. Keith Thurman still got to have his tune-ups and still has to come back. So, we both got to fight each other.
Keith Thurman ain't fighting you, brother. The wind just blew. He broke his knuckles. He broke his knuckles shadow boxing because the wind blew too hard.
You're a popular man, Errol. Everyone's calling out the champ.
Now all of a sudden, everyone's calling out Errol Spence. Appreciate the time, champ. Thank you. Paulie, so what do you think? Obviously what we saw here tonight, Mikey Garcia, and then him moving up a couple of weight classes to try to face Errol Spence.
Listen, I think based on the situation, going up to being a lightweight and being a lightweight unification, this is a great performance. He beat a good world champion, Robert Easter, and there's no doubt about it that he won the fight. The 7% on Twitter that had Easter winning, they might want to get their eyes checked. But, so I don't think that's...
Paulie Malignaggi is like the Joe Pesci of boxing analysts. I'm funny like a clown? So my jab is funny like a clown.
The issue, I thought he looked good for the situation that he was in. I don't don't know that he looked explosive enough to create a threat for the best welterweight in the world. You know, and that's the thing. Had he obliterated Robert Easter tonight, I'd say, oh, okay, you know, you can make a case for that type of fight. Off of this type of fight, if I'm the guy who's advising Mikey Garcia, I'd probably say, if you want to test the welterweight waters, you got to probably test the welterweight waters against somebody else first. I mean, Darren...
I understand what you're saying, Paulie Malignaggi, but I think that Mikey Garcia is telling himself, if I have a chance to lose at welterweight because of a size disparity, why not just lose against the best? Then I can just say I lost against the best. If I try to test the waters against another prominent welterweight and I lose, then I wasted my time and all I did was put an L on my record that was unnecessary. If I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose against the best. That's what Mikey Garcia is thinking.
Darren, and it's not a criticism, because you can't criticize somebody for Darren to be great and going for all of that. But Errol said his weight class is for a reason. He said he's going from 135 to 147. I'm going to correct that. He started at 126. Okay, this is a former featherweight going to the welterweight division. So you are really, really daring to be great, but it's also a risk.
And it's also to point out,
no risk, no reward. No guts, no glory. And as they say, fortune favors the bold.
Point out here, Al, his brother, Robert Garcia, and even his father said, don't you ease your way to welterweight. They both said, I don't know if you want to take on Errol Spence next. So they did make that point, and then I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about Robert Easter and how he showed himself tonight.
Yeah, we need to comment on him because he came in there an undefeated champion, and you know, even though he lost this fight and he lost it by a fairly significant margin, there were some things Robert Easter can take from this fight and be happy about. He was a disciplined effort. He didn't lose his poise, and
he didn't lose his poise, but he did move away from the game plan at very pivotal moments in the fight that I think cost him a chance to win the fight. If he kept the game plan perfect, I think that he still would have lost, but at least the fight would have been closer.
And there were moments when he did some very good things against Mikey Garcia. So the fact is, Robert Easter will remain a player at 135 pounds. There's no question.
All right. So, Mo, we began the night talking about pound for pound and Mikey Garcia, where he stands. Now with this victory, he's unified. He said he's in the top 3. Does he move up? Top 2? 1? What do you see?
Well, obviously, he proves that he is a class above Robert Easter Jr., now adds unified lightweight champion. And because of the fact that he is calling out people like Errol Spence Jr., he wants to be the pound-for-pound best, and that's how you work your way towards being that. And you've got to appreciate, I think, everyone involved, Errol and Mikey Garcia, this generation, this year, we are seeing the best want to fight the best, and that's how the sport of boxing is going to continue to thrive.
That's what fans have been screaming for years, and we're getting it now. It's going to be another great year. All right, let's recap what we saw here tonight in Los Angeles.
No, we don't need to recap anything. We pretty much know what happened. Let me just say this. Right now, Mikey Garcia, if he's able to, by some unforeseen miracle, defeat Errol Spence in November or December, whenever that fight is finally made, he will certainly become considered the #1 fighter in the sport. With him winning championships in 4 weight classes, having 2 belts at 135 right now, he has to be considered in the top 5. He's right up there with Terrence Crawford, Lomachenko, Errol Spence, etc. He's 4th or 5th in the world right now. There's no doubt about that. But should he be able to defeat Errol Spence, he'll certainly be #1. And that's where his eyes are pointing. And I don't blame him for that. He has high aspirations for himself. As they say, he's daring to be great, and good for him. But I think that Errol Spence is going to be a whole other animal. And as Paulie Malignaggi stated so well, it would be one thing if he was just demolishing guys at 135. I've seen the difference in Mikey Garcia since he's come back. I stated it in my preview video. I think that he's much more flat-footed. When you saw Mikey before the layoff, his movement was much smoother. He liked to box off the bounce, meaning he would move and stick and throw his combinations off the bounce. Now he's much more flat-footed. He's very confident in his overall strength. He reminds me a lot of what you see from great fighters when they get around 30, 31 years old. They become much more situated. They start to become much more comfortable in their quote-unquote grown man strength. And they don't feel like they have to move as much. We saw the same thing with Ali when he got around 29, 30 years old. Very similar we saw with Mr. Floyd Mayweather when he got around 30 years old. Of course, he took that little layoff when he came back. He was also a fighter who was more flat-footed. He was flat-footed to the point where the boxing media tried to accuse him of losing his legs. We see that with Mikey. I just don't know if he's going to be able to handle that type of power that Errol Spence is going to be bringing. But Errol is going to have to watch out, because I suspect that for Mikey to come into that fight only having to weigh 147 coming into the fight, that he's going to be very big and strong. Now, how much will that impact his quickness and his reflexes? We'll find out. But Errol's about 5'9". Mikey's about 5'6". As we saw in this fight tonight, height is not that big of a difference for Mikey. And when you're talking about fighters at this level, they know how to nullify height if they've been properly schooled. But we'll find out. So anyway, peace.